Hey Rich, let's talk about Snap and this other story that Julia just set up with it. Let's give you a shout out, first of all. You did say a year ago today that you were initiating coverage on this stock with a $20 price target, and you took some heat for that. Obviously, we're well past that now, especially with these gains that we see overnight on this. But is this a pandemic story? I mean, you think about kids who use this so heavily, not being able to do so many other things they would. There's very little, very few outlets for where kids can spend their attention these days. Is this something that you think outlasts the pandemic?
You know, the funny thing is that this wasn't really about user growth in the U.S. I mean, daily active users, which is that DAU metric that a lot of people focus on, the U.S. was flat. So this wasn't about skyrocketing numbers of users in the U.S. Overseas, I mean, I think they grew a lot in India, and that was very helpful. But the real story here is that advertisers are embracing Snapchat. And I think the team that's been hired, Jeremi Gorman, who came over from Amazon, Peter Naylor, who came over from Hulu, they have really done an amazing job of showcasing to advertisers the power of the Snapchat audience. This is a very tough audience to reach on linear television through most other mediums. It's hard to reach this group. They've done a great job showcasing that. They said on the call last night that they had a record number of new advertisers come on board. They're still a fraction of Facebook. You know, I'd say the trend here is this is not just Snapchat, right? I mean, this is helping Facebook, helping Pinterest, helping Twitter. I mean, there's something going on fundamentally where advertisers, because of COVID, I think are shifting faster away from traditional evening television and looking for how can they reach this audience, especially a younger audience, more and more content on places like Snapchat. Obviously, there's a lot of upside as you think about growth. You know, they talked about 50% growth in Q4, which I think you mentioned was sort of their guidance commentary. But remember, they exited the quarter probably growing in the 60s, if not mid 60s. So feels pretty conservative, especially if we're going to be not locked, but certainly more homebound over the course of the next several months, which is probably going to mean the e-commerce trends that you've seen sort of broadly across the market will continue to be a nice tailwind behind Snapchat. And I think it really just speaks to Evan Spiegel has done a great job bringing on executives and pulling. You know, this company was dying 2 years ago. I mean, it was a $5 stock. It was dying. And they've got morale is up. People are excited. And advertisers want to be there now.
Julia?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting, Becky, is you asked if it's a COVID story, and I think the COVID story is really about the advertisers. And Rich mentioned this, but it's really about advertisers being pushed to try new formats. The advantage that Snap has, it has all this augmented reality technology that was first only useful for the fun filters that were just for fun. They were not really revenue generating, but now those filters are being used to help sell things. And we're seeing such a broad array of advertisers say, okay, I'm not going to be putting my ads on TV, or I'm going to look for a more measurable way to invest in reaching my younger consumers, which are the hardest to reach. So let's let them try on the nail polish with an augmented reality filter or try on the glasses. And so there's this whole push of advertisers trying to figure out how to leverage these new tools. And I think that if those tools are really working, which it seems like they are, then that could benefit Snap over the long run and really convert those advertisers more permanently, Becky.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.